A bookshelf scavenger hunt. It sounds like fun. Find a book that has a Z in the author's name or title. That was actually quite hard to do, but I did find one, Beverly Cleary's Beezus and Ramona. Find a classic? How about this beautiful edition of Les Miserables? Find a book with a key on it. The only one I could find was this one, The Secret Garden, but the key isn't very big. Find something on your bookshelf that's not a book. I don't keep knickknacks in amongst my books, so that's hard to find, but I do have an African doll on the very top of the bookshelf. I think the oldest book on my shelf is probably this edition of Byron's poems. It doesn't have a publication date because so many books around the turn of the century didn't seem to have one, but it's a beautiful old book. A book with a girl on the cover. Well, pretty much anything by Lucy Maud Montgomery would apply, but how about Jane of Lantern Hill? A book with an animal in it? Aesop's Fables is full of stories about animals. A book with a male protagonist. The Tollgate by Georgette Hare. Most of her books would be qualified as Regency romances, but this one has a male as the lead, Captain John Staple. A book with only words on it. How to interpret poetry. A book with words on how to interpret other words. A book with illustrations. The Backyard Birdsong Guide. Not only does it have illustrations, it has what the birds actually sound like. A book with gold lettering? This one, A Victorian Posy, which is a book of poetry, has gold lettering on the side. A book that is a diary? The History of Emily Montagu by Frances Brooke. It was first published in 1769 and is considered to be the first novel written in Canada. A book written by somebody with a common name. How about How to Build a Time Machine by Paul Davies? Maybe Davies isn't the most common name, but this is such a good book. It's such a fun science book. A book that has a close-up picture on the cover. Rex Stout's Champagne for One. Most of these editions of the Nero Wolfe Mysteries have a close-up of something on the cover. In this case, it's a champagne glass. A book that takes place in an early time period? This is an actual history book, The Timetables of History, but it's a different kind of history book because it has an entry for each year and things that happened each year. And it goes way, way back. A hardcover book without a jacket? Rose in Bloom by Louisa May Alcott. This is a sequel to one of my favorite Louisa May Alcott's, Eight Cousins. And this may originally have had a dust jacket, but not when I acquired it. But that's alright, because I hate dust jackets. A book with teal or turquoise on it? First Among Sequels by Jasper Fforde. This is actually the 5th in his Bookworld series. They're just so fun and fantastical. A book with stars on it? My Doctor Who TARDIS Handbook. Oh, I just love that show. Do you know there's a new series going on right now? Find a non-YA book. That's actually the easiest one of all because YA is the genre that I own the least of. How about this non-fiction book, Waterfalls of Ontario? It details how to find small waterfalls all around the province. I just love it. I love exploring and collecting waterfalls. Z. Manny Alvarez, The Checklist. But that's a medical book. That's not very interesting. A book that has animals in it. Aesop's Fables. Fables? What's that?